sustainability and climate impact are playing an increasingly important role in the decisions people make about the milk they drink. And in most parts of the world, there are many kinds of milk to choose from, including a growing number of non-dairy options. Dairy milk comes from cows, so it suffers from the same issues that beef production does, making it one of the foods that has a significant impact on our environment. But because a cow produces a great deal of milk over the course of its lifespan, the environmental effects of drinking dairy milk are still lower than the effects of eating beef. Having said that, research suggests that about 4% of all greenhouse gas emissions come from dairy production. But how can that be? If the environmental impact of producing cow's milk is so much lower than that of producing beef, why is dairy such a big contributor to global greenhouse gas emissions? The answer is that not all dairy is consumed as milk. Cheese is a significant contributor to global greenhouse gas emissions, and depending on the type of cheese, it can take up to 10 pounds of milk to make just 1 pound of cheese. This is because of aging. When you age a cheese, the volume generally reduces and the cheese densifies, meaning you need more volume of milk to make the same volume of cheese. And you also need a cool, stable environment for that cheese to age in, which means refrigeration and energy consumption for long periods of time. This is why the carbon footprint of some cheeses can be so high, but it's not true for all cheeses. More research needs to be done here, but a good rule of thumb is that the age and hardness of a cheese can be a good indicator of its sustainability. Things like yogurt, cottage cheese, mozzarella, feta, and other unaged dairy products are pretty close to milk in terms of their carbon footprint. But what about non-dairy milks? The short answer is that the environmental impact of non-dairy milks is significantly lower than cow's milk. Soy milk, for example, results in about 1/3 of the greenhouse gas emissions of traditional dairy milk. This doesn't mean we're suggesting soy milk is the answer to our dairy problems. In fact, there has been research exploring the potential health problems associated with consuming large amounts of soy products, including soy milk. But luckily, in many countries, people can now choose from a variety of non-dairy milks, including many nut-based milks like almond, cashew, or macadamia, and even oat milk, which is steadily growing in popularity. In general, plant-based milks need much less land to produce and significantly less water. Some of the nut milks, like almond milk, need more water to produce than grain-based milks like oat milk, for example. And this becomes important in places where droughts are common. But in general, whenever you reach for a milk alternative, you're almost always going to be making a more sustainable choice than traditional cow's milk. Having said that, we live in a world that produces roughly 800 million tons of dairy milk a year. And in many parts of the world, cow's milk is part of a long-standing culinary tradition. In India, for example, cow's milk is a major part of the culture of eating, and this, combined with India's large population, makes it the largest consumer of cow's milk in the world. So how do we balance our desire to protect the planet with our need to respect food cultures and preferences? Variety. If we can get used to using different kinds of milk for different purposes, we can help to protect the planet and minimize any potential health risks associated with consuming too much of any one food. You might also discover some new favorites.